Yo, what is going on, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to a brand new live testing match. I've got my friend John on the left playing Phantom Knights, and my friend Adam on the right playing Swordsoul. Obviously, here in the new format. This is a bit of a long match too, so it is sped up a little bit more than I usually speed things up. And also, just speaking of, matches in general, I actually was able to return to locals this past Saturday. So you guys should start seeing locals feature matches and locals deck profiles coming very, very soon. So. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. I know it's been maybe four and a half weeks or so since I've uploaded that. Haven't been able to go to locals though. But everything's back open now, and feels good to be back and recording some matches for you guys. So I appreciate everybody's patience in the meantime while I wasn't able to post those things. But we're going to see our Phantom Knight player here going into their standard combo line, using Levier here to go ahead and bring back the gloves, and activating the Seer effect to go ahead and bring back the graph, importantly, into that zone that Cherubini points to, so it does not get destroyed by card effects. Then we're going to see him go ahead and link 3 into Rusty here. And I know there's a little bit of a glare up there in the top left where that Levier is, so I do apologize. But we're going to go ahead and see a Gamma here on Rusty. And that's a pretty good thing to go ahead and Gamma. I feel like in most hands, I'm always aiming to hit Rusty with a hand trap, but then it feels like sometimes there's other major threats that you have to stop too before Rusty even comes out. And sometimes hitting Rusty feels like it does absolutely nothing. Like the Phantom Knight deck is absolutely absurd this format, and I think is one of the things that is on my radar the most in terms of side decking. For the current deck that I'm playing. In any deck that I play going forward, it's always going to be one of the biggest, decks to have, in the back of my mind when it comes to side decking and deck building and things like that. Because it is just an insane deck, especially with the Brave token engine in this build here, because somebody might ask, does not have any Brave stuff in it. It is just DPE PK. So yeah, my other friend plays the Brave or Adventurer version, and that is just insane. I played against it for the first time in person the other day, and I was actually blown away. I'm like, I knew it would get an Omni Negate early on, but a bounce too on top of that with the equip spell. My goodness, what are they doing nowadays with these cards? They're printing, I swear. But either way, we're gonna see him climb into an IP Masquerena here and go into a Break Sword, popping the Gamma. You obviously don't want to pop the Driver here. Put that back in the graveyard to make future Gammas live, rather than let that get banished in the end phase. We'll see Rusty activated. So in fact, go ahead and give 800 to IP Masquerena. Kind of clutch here. Very, very easy thing to go ahead and beat over in the battle phase, but now it's up to 16. We're going to see Time Thief Redoer. Very, very nice rank 4 to go into here. I thought for the longest time this card was kind of out of favor in most PK decks, so they didn't really, when they brought things back off of Break Sword, they weren't really making rank 4s. They were just kind of making like Anaconda or whatever. But it's nice to see Redoer in there. It's a very, very solid and underrated card. We're going to see him follow up with everybody's favorite fusion spell. Not Red Eyes Fusion, but Fusion Destiny, dumping the bricks to go ahead and summon DPE. So now he's got to worry about... Okay, so we got a trap, a spell, and a monster underneath that Redoer. I know it's hard to see. So if you're not watching with volume, it's going to be very rough because I know what's going on. But there's a monster and spell and trap underneath that Redoer, so that's going to be a bit of a roadblock. We have IP Masquerena live, and we have DPE live, so there's a lot of interruptions here. Quite a few, actually. And if he wants to link for Unicorn, he's going to go ahead and get a free draw here off of the Redoer as well to give him discard fodder. So we're going to see the Redoer go ahead and stack something back to the top of the deck. And we're going to see an Emergence get activated now after his opponent stole one from the top of his deck. And he's going to go ahead and search out Mo Yi. I also see a copy. I think I see Ecclesia in hand, which is really strong here. But it'll only be good for so long because the amount of monsters on his opponent's field is going to quickly start dwindling because of things like DPE and IP Masquerena. 3 goes to 2, and then 2 may soon go to 1. So we're going to see him just go ahead and spin back the token here, discarding a Psychic Wielder, or Psychic Tracker. Wielder. And then we're going to see in response to that, the Heavenly Dragon Circle get chained, tributing off his token to go ahead and either add or special summon. But since he did tribute a non-effect monster, he can go ahead and spec out a Tenyi. Could go for Adhara here if you wanted to have access to a Helka Fibrax play, which I don't think he's on right now. He might have been testing the Hulk build in this particular night that we were testing, but I can't remember for sure. So we'll go ahead and spec out the Adhara. Imagine if he had something like Danglong to go into right now. It'd be pretty crazy. But, I mean, not really too many options available here. Still have to play around the DPE pop. And in fact, we are going to see the DPE pop happen right now. I can only imagine he's trying to deny access to Monk. But we'll see DP effect on field, DP effect in grave, and then, you know, that Ecclesia that is in his hand right now that would normally be very strong into a going second board is actually no longer live unless he decides to go into the battle phase, which he has not done so yet. So he will attack into the Unicorn. He'll take the 500 main phase 2. We'll see him spec Ecclesia. Activate Ecclesia here to go ahead and get the Tai out of the deck since he's already exhausted the Mo Yi. And we're going to see Tai banish in Emergence. Or perhaps not Emergence. Going to go ahead and banish. I was going to say, banishing the Mo Yi might be a little stronger because he can go ahead and Adhara banish itself to add back the Mo Yi. And then he has that follow-up for next turn. I believe that's how that works. But it looks like he's going to go ahead and Synchro. No, yeah, I was going to say, you definitely want Adhara first, unless he has some other way you can get a token on field, which I'm not entirely sure he can at the moment, based on maybe what he gets off of his Chi Xiao here. So we're going to see Chainlink 1 Chi Xiao, Chainlink 2 Tai, of course. Tai is going to go ahead and send. We're looking to add a Long Yun and dumping a copy of the Ashina. And then we're going to see him activate the Long Yun, pitching the Mo Yi, summoning Ruddy Rose Dragon, super strong here, banishing the graveyards. That actually clears so many threats. It is unbelievable. And of course, our PK player will at least get Redoer back, and he takes another spell. That is just bad luck. But, you know, he loses that Celestial follow-up, loses DPE, loses so much there. That Ruddy Rose Dragon absolutely, like, devastating in this particular matchup, and definitely putting in work here. We're going to see Redoer activate, detaching the Droplet. Go ahead and draw here. You know, you could argue it does hurt the Swordsoul player a little bit, but not nearly as much as it's hurting the Phantom Knight player. They can have their whole deck in the graveyard and still win from there. Definitely, you know, you always hear about decks having their graveyard act as a second hand. This is definitely one of those decks. Like, not only is the end board impressive, but, you know, from watching my friend play this deck, especially with the Adventurer build, a lot of times they can do full combo and then have every PK name in the graveyard for next turn. So they can literally just do it all over again. It's insane. It's absolutely mind-boggling. So we're going to see Access Code Talker get summoned here. And I'm assuming the effect on summon is going to go ahead and resolve since he cannot respond. But I believe he could go ahead and on res negate with the Chi Xiao because, and I actually just learned this recently, but Chi Xiao can actually banish from hand as well as banishing from grave. You learn something new every day. So Access Code Talker neutralized for now. Otherwise, I would add a nice 5300 access code that could run over that Ruddy Rose and also get over the Chi Xiao if he wanted, whichever one. But we're going to see our PK player here go ahead and search a Fogblade and pass. Standby phase will take a Long Yun. And now as the Swordsoul player here, what do, right? You're top decking. You don't have any resources to work with in grave, but you do have two big bodies on field that can contest both the monsters on board. He's going to try to attack over the access code. It's going to get Fogbladed. The access code itself, that is, not the Ruddy Rose Dragon. So he is going to attack into the Redoer, and Redoer will activate here. And it's just going to go ahead and come back in the end phase here if he does not have anything else that he can do. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and see him pass turn there. Standby phase takes an Ashina here. You probably would have liked to see an Ashina help get things going. And now we're going to see access code activate, banishing itself off the field. And that is going to be able to go ahead and pop one. Whether he gets rid of the Ruddy Rose or the Chi Xiao. So he's going to go ahead and get rid of the Ruddy Rose. And has 3,200 attack. So Redoer's not going to be able to do much about it. And he's going to go ahead and pass turn, standby phase, another spell. I think that's got to be like the third spell that Redoer is taking. It's putting in a lot of work here. He's going to go battle phase. chain effect on attack declaration, redeclare for direct 3200, get a draw, and let Redoer tag out there. You really got to catch Redoer without a monster underneath it, and he keeps finding him. And it's a Vishuda. We probably would have liked to have a Vishuda as well. Yeah, pretty good card. I mean, but eventually it will get put into his opponent's graveyard, so I guess that's a good thing too. We're going to see Droplet now, and it looks like on the attack declaration, or perhaps in damage step, Droplet pitching an Ash to get in and over the Ruddy Rose Dragon. And then we're going to see a Zeus get slapped on top. My friend slapped a Downard on top of that, which you actually can't do. And when I was playing him like a match or two later, I was like, wait, you can't put Downard on top of a rank 4. And then he was like, oh yeah, whoops, my bad. He's like, I might have done that in our past matches. So yeah, it is what it is. But luckily it doesn't matter because it's not giving him an additional send here. So I know someone's going to point that out in the comments too. But yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, will not occur again. So we're going to see the Zeus get put into attack here. And his opponent's only at 67. So, I mean, depending on what he's top deck at this point, could definitely put him in lethal range here. And our Swordsoul player has been getting the worst luck at this point. Just needs to get somebody on field to be able to use that Ashna. Anything. Not finding it, though. Just passing another turn. And we'll see our PK player checking his banished pile, which is rather huge at this point. And not much follow-up to work with in grave. We're going to see Zeus activate, detaching Downard and the Redoer. And then we're going to see the Droplet get activated here. That's going to have that Zeus, importantly, because you kind of have to. And we're going to see him activate Tour Guide, summoning another Tour Guide, swing in with everything. That's 3,500, leaving him just shy of game. And even if he were to go into Breaksword 2 right now, he'd only be able to put on 3,500 damage as well, because Breaksword, unfortunately, you know, for our Phantom Knight player anyways, only has 2,000 attack. So very, very close game right here. I mean, if he can top deck a Mo Yi or something right now, he'd be back in this game, hands down. I believe he has a Gamma in hand. I can't really tell what the other card is currently. Only bit of follow-up our PK player has in grave is that Fog Blade, which has no targets right now. But we're going to see him go ahead and make a rank 3 for Breaksword. Destiny draw. Can he find it? Long Yun, Ash, Gamma. Not what he needs at all. So yeah, there was the Despot. So he is on the Rorodon Hulk stuff that a lot of people are onto right now. But we're into a game 2 situation. And I'd like to mention a quick shout out to our sponsor over at Imperium Duelist. They just came out with brand new Demon Slayer sleeves, over sleeves for double sleeving, and a water-themed deck box. They got other awesome products on their site right now, as well as their Pegasus tournament-ready sleeve. Check them out. I'll link in the description below. And don't forget to use my discount code WinterKill off at checkout to save 10% off your entire order and support the channel in the process as well. Don't forget to check out my affiliate links to the Coldest Water and TCG Player down below. If you guys shop and check out using those links, a small bit of the revenue from your purchase goes right back in the channel and helps out a ton. So we're going to see our Swordsoul player here lead with Ashna into Monk and normal summon Ecclesia. It's a really rough normal summon here. Obviously, we know Ecclesia is crazy going second, but rough normal summon. Granted, it can get you into any of your Swordsoul monsters, whether it be Taiye or your Mo Yi. But outside of that, looking at our opponent's, or our Swordsoul player's hand, they've got copy of Cosmic and I think double D barrier. So a really, really rough opening hand here. We're going to see Ashna activate while that Monk is on board, speccing out the Tenny Spirit Chthana, acting as a nice level 4 non-tuner, allowing him to synchro into Chi Xiao here. And I'm assuming he's doing this, at least has to do this, because he does not have anything in hand to reveal for the Mo Yi. Although he could have technically held the Ashna and then used the Ecclesia to tag into Mo Yi, reveal Ashna, and then spec a token. Maybe that's definitely a little more fragile to things like Imperm and Valor, etc., etc. So I can kind of see why he went the route he did. But we're going to see Chi Xiao set 3 pass. And we're going to see our Phantom Knight player start spamming level 3s, as the deck likes to do. Normal summon Cloak, spec the Tracker. And always got Blackout. So it's not double D barrier, but it really doesn't matter what trap it is at this point, because our PK player has Red Reboot, the one of here. And we're going to see our Swordsoul player set a D barrier, I believe, from the deck. And we're going to see him put those 2 level 3s to the graveyard for Cherubini. And yeah, that Blackout would have been very, very strong there. It puts him on needing another 2 extenders to keep going. Well, another extender, another level 3 body they can just get on the field for free, which is easier said than done, because obviously the cloak could search boots, but he needs another way to get a Phantom Knight on field. It's going to be not super easy to do. We're going to see Torn Scales get sent off the Cherry Beanie before he uses the cloak, so he can spec, so he can spec out the Torn Scales. Torn Scales effect ditching the wings, and that's going to dump another cloak. Would have thought maybe he'd dump another name here, like Gloves or something. We're just going to see him dump another cloak, possibly just for follow-up. And now we're going to see him go ahead and overlay for Breaksword. These back row are just basically free at this point, just to go ahead and start picking off. Since if they're traps, they will not be activated this turn, but we are going to see the Breaksword go after the Chi Jiao, and that is going to force the Chi Jiao banishing a copy of the Emergence from the graveyard. And from here, go ahead and either go into a copy of Rusty. I mean, he could go Battle Phase and threaten a Zeus, this time with Downard actually, and just wipe the board and make him go minus $1 billion if he really wanted to. But we're going to see him, of course, go into the Rusty to go ahead and continue to extend. And still has the opportunity to go ahead and send something like Gloves to the graveyard. I mean, a part of me wishes he would have gone to a really early battle phase and just Zeus the whole board. That would have been hilarious. Might not have been the best play, but I would have liked to see that. Because a Zeus wiping for, 1, 2, 6 cards is pretty awesome. But we're going to see him continue on here. Activating the boots, go ahead and add a copy of Fogblade. And especially that he only has 1 card left in hand, too. That would have been kind of clutch. But I digress. We're going to see him activate Wings. Wings is going to spec out the Breaksword. That is going to trigger the Rusty, going to pop one of the unknown back rows. And it's another D barrier. We know the other sets right now to be a Blackout, another D barrier, I believe, and a Cosmic Cyclone. Which luckily that is not locked down completely by the red reboot, obviously. Now, Torn Scales has already been exhausted, his graveyard effect this turn, so not really sure what else he's going to be able to do at this point. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to go battle phase. Now, Tenny Spirit Chithana is in the graveyard, and that can trigger here, which would destroy Breaksword, thus triggering his effect. So he will go ahead and run over that monk, and that is going to trigger Chithana. And that is going to pop Rusty and bring back the monk. And we're going to see Rusty now go over the monk this time. He's going to get those 2 bodies back on field. Yeah, I mean, if Chithana's not mandatory, I mean, I don't really see a reason why to go ahead and actually pop the Breaksword like that and potentially give, literally not potentially, literally give him back 2 free bodies there. But that's, Tenny Spirit Chithana is not a card I typically read every day, so I can't recall offhand. But we're going to see him now use Rusty, actually, finally, dumping a copy of Stained Greaves to go ahead and set a Fogblade from the deck. And now the only unfortunate thing right now is that because Red Reboot is in the graveyard, he cannot use Shade Brigandine. So I don't know if he actually set Shade Brigandine or not. I'm just going to go ahead and assume he went and set a Fogblade, because also right now that Cloak and Torn Scale are both level 4 because of Breaksword's effect. He's also Dark Locked too. So there is no Zeus options this turn for him, and hopefully he remembers that, because it can be a little easy to forget when you're just doing some casual testing matches, I suppose. But we're going to see him go for a rank 4. There it is, Time Thief Redoer. Put in a lot of work last game, and boy, oh boy, there is the Fusion Destiny again. So our PK player is what we like to call really good opening up that Fusion Destiny, or being like one of the last cards, and again, there's DPE. And we're going to see him set another card on top of that. Red Reboot, and Fusion Destiny. Insane opening here to go against this very back row heavy board of Swordsoul. DPE is going to go ahead and clear out the Blackout, and one of the known back rows there. I probably would have sniped the unknown in the middle there, not closest to the bottom, but, just, to the right of where that D barrier that just got activated was. So we're going to see a standby phase D barrier. Calling Fusion, I'm assuming that's just to get DPE out of circulation. Or maybe even draw phase D barrier. And preventing DPE from coming back here, which is really strong. Although I assume DPE would still resolve specking back. It just can't summon back the DPE itself. Yeah, so Dasher will still get summoned here. I believe that is correct, because that effect, the Specky Destiny Hero, activated the previous turn and is already activated and cannot be, you know, negated by D barrier. Just makes it so he can't summon back DP. So it's successfully turning off the DPE loop here, which is what you want to do. Unfortunately, you could not call Xyz because that Time Thief Redoer is going to take another monster. You're luckily not taking a trap, since our Swordsoul player has seen pretty much, it looks like, all the traps he has in deck right now. So likely he will not get a trap, but, you know, he was taking tons of spells last game, and like I said, put in a ton of work, so we'll see how it pans out here. We're going to go ahead and see him synchro 8 into Chi-Xiao, or not Chi-Xiao, my bad, the Boxia with the Tai and the token, so you potentially spin 2 here. Really huge threat on board right now. We're going to see a Fog Blade, and we're going to see Cosmic Cyclone get chained in response, and this is probably where our PK player was wishing that he would have destroyed that set instead of the other one that he knew was Blackout. But I guess also letting him keep the known Blackout kind of poses a problem too, because that lets him clear both Fog Blades for the free, so I guess you're banking on it not being another Blackout, and you know, if it is a Cosmic Cyclone, it is what it is, because you have 2 Fog Blade, I guess. So that all makes sense there in the end. Yeah, because Blackout is such a good card, something you cannot let linger like that, especially if you're relying on your back row, especially if there's just 2 of them, right? Double Fog Blade. Would kind of rather have them not get blown to smithereens at the start of your turn. And then have to worry about a Boxy on top of that. Yeah, that would have spiraled out of control really, really fast. Now, I just want to let you guys know there is going to be a cut in the video here after sort of a bit of a replay and a change of plans. Again, this is just a testing match, so we're going to go ahead and see him potentially synchro with the Boxia and the Adara, but he is going to change his mind instead. Just go battle phase, run over the Redoer, at least try to run over the Redoer, but Redoer obviously will chain, removing itself from the field. End phase, it'll just come right back after setting 1. Redoer standby phase. There's another spell, and we're going to see an anti-spell get activated here. A good card to have in the side deck, I would say, just for those board breakers. Even though it really doesn't play around Droplet super well. Yeah, I mean, that's a little rough, because it obviously being a quick play, but it can turn off some other things like Dark Ruler specifically, which I guess the Swordsoul boards can also have a hard time against, or just any generic back removal, like Lightning Storm could also be pretty good. But I mean, and also stopping Fusion Destiny too, which is kind of huge. It's just unfortunate it's just being seen this late in the match. Either way, we're going to see him go ahead into the Break Sword, and of course this is going to trigger the Rusty. And we're going to see Chi-Xiao get chained in response. And Chi-Xiao is actually going to negate the Break Sword and actually let the Rusty go ahead and pop the Chi-Xiao here. And I can kind of see why you don't want that Rusty effect resolving right now, because that might just mean you're uber dead. Normal summon Graph, that will just blow itself up immediately. That's going to summon Seer. Seer will die, specking back out the Cherubini. Now going for a Link 3 with the Dasher and the Cherubini. Pitching Gloves, go ahead and spin here. Just pitch all those free extenders to the graveyard. So good. We're going to see the Boxy get put back to the extra deck. Link 4 here for the one and only, the man who talks too much. And then we're going to see Celestial just draw 2 here. Crazy, crazy card. Just so much follow-up. Just insane, like, firepower right now. Access code will blow up. And now it's just the Adara is the only thing on our Swordsoul player's field. Between him and absurd amounts of damage. It doesn't even need to bring back this this break, so it's just game already. And PK will be taking that one 2-0. It was a rather long and grindy match, so I wanted to go ahead and show it to you guys. But yeah, as always, if you guys want to see more of my content, click on one of the videos popping up on the bottom of the screen right now. More live duels on the way this week, so definitely stay on the lookout for that. And last but not least, a huge shout out goes to our Divine Level channel members, and they are Tweeter0226, Pony Start, Cadillacs84, Keith Sidgers, and Black Ninja Money. Thank you guys so much, as always, for your extremely generous support of the channel.